2 months ago for my birthday, I made the decision to buy the most expensive CT4 V Blackwing that I could get. So mine's sticking at about $90,000. $90,000 is real close to $100,000. And $100,000 is what I could have paid for a CT5 V Blackwing. So why did I end up with the CT4 V Blackwing when the CT5 V Blackwing is the bigger brother, the better engine, and just the more, that's what people know. That's the more renowned car out of the two. So why did I get the lesser car of the two? People ran the same question by me quite a few times, and I've decided I'll just put it in the video because, as most of you all know, my Camaro family, shout out to you guys, I started my channel with actually a Mustang GT or a Scion FRS, but the Camaro was the car that I chose for the long haul to make my channel about. So, and that was an SS1LE. And then later on I upgraded to a ZL1. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to hark back to that. So we're going to talk about that. But there's a couple reasons. So the main reason, it has to do with price, but it doesn't have to do with price, but it has to do with my other car. And my other car is the Miata. So my Miata, I would have had to sell my Miata to comfortably be able to make the payments for a CT5 V Blackwing. And that's just something I don't want to do because I don't want to give up my Miata. I'd rather have two cars as opposed to just one car to do it all. So in one of these videos I put out, there was two manual CT5 V Blackwings that were still new 2024 that I could use the GM employee discount on. One of those CT5 V Blackwings was $250,000 and the other one was $110,000, and I negotiated down to $100,000, which maybe I could have knocked off more. But this car, it was $90,000, and I got the GM employee discount, which knocked it around $13,000, and I got $6,000 plus on top of that. So this car was a great deal cheaper than what I would have paid for a CT5 V Blackwing. But had I sold my Miata, I would have been able to get into a CT5 V Blackwing. But that's not exactly what I want to do because my Miata is my most fun car that I ever had. Even more fun than this. Sad to say, but that's just what it is in my opinion. So I'm just not giving that up. So yes, I could have done that, but no, not doing that. I'd rather just outright be able to get the CT5 V Blackwing if I choose to in the future when that time comes without getting rid of anything. And that's just not to say that the CT5 V Blackwing is a better car. Yeah, it's got the V8, but this car handles much better, is lighter, and more nimble if you care about things of that nature, which I do. But it makes it sound like an excuse of why I justify having this car. This is still a great car on its own. Yes, they should have put a V8 in here, even just a naturally aspirated V8. But this twin turbo V6 in here, it is a stout powertrain. Most people say they don't like it. Kind of lacks character when compared to a BMW M car. It flat out lacks character when it comes to that. But the BMW M cars have some of the greatest motors that I've ever driven. So that's not the crap on this motor. But back to the comparison. CT5 V Blackwing would be a perfect car for me. Or just a regular CT5V, but they don't have a manual. So what I would have liked from that car is the extra space. That car is longer, mid-size sedan, and that's what I need. Because once you get in the back seat of this little guy right here, and I do mean little guy, this is sitting behind myself. I don't even know if the camera's on me. Oh crap, man, my bun is all in the ceiling. I can get back here, but it's not comfortable, and I'm all over the middle. Actually, I'm intruding on the passenger on the right side of the car, and I'm sitting on the left, but I'm leaned all the way over, and my foot is stuck. And I gotta get out the car backwards. Thankfully, I did my yoga this morning. So I'm definitely lacking in the size department, but it's adequate. I got two younger daughters. The second reason is going to be the powertrain. As I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, that I had the ZL1, and I made a video actually right in the same spot. So the ZL1, reasons not to buy it. So the ZL1 comes with a lot of power. That car has 650 horsepower with the torque to match. Same with the CT5 V Blackwing. I have those two cars in parallel. ZL1 650 horsepower. The SS was 455. The CT5 V Blackwing has 668 horsepower. The CT4 V Blackwing is 472 horsepower. So their power to weight ratio is on par with one another. Close enough. Don't be a stat nerd. So what I didn't enjoy about my ZL1, it's just too much power. Yeah, I believe there can be a such thing as too much power. Some of you all would disagree, and that's fine, but these aren't not my, I just don't go out here racing. I'm not a race channel. I don't even speed like that, but these are my daily drivers. I gotta be comfortable every day. Not to say that the CT5 V Blackwing would not be the most comfortable, and it's got a panoramic sunroof versus my basic sunroof, but just having that much power on tap, not being able to use it, that's just a waste to me. I'll never tap into it. Like my ZL1, even on track, I couldn't tap into all that power that it did have. And it'll be the same for the CT5 V Blackwing. It's just a lot of power. You need great stretches of roads. Wherever I'm at, it's construction everywhere. So I'm doing like 30, 40 miles an hour. Like I can do that in first gear in this car. And the CT5 V Blackwing, more the same, but just more exaggerated. So I like to enjoy the power band of my car, and the CT5 V Blackwing is going to cost more money for me to not be able to use more power on tap. And I just can't really justify doing that at this stage of my life. Not to say in the future while I have a bunch of money, like, oh yeah, I don't care, I got a $1,000 horsepower ZR1X, which I wouldn't have because it's not a manual. Swear to God, Tommy. But I just don't like having that much power on tap and not being able to use it. And as I mentioned even earlier, that's why I enjoy my Miata. This is a Cadillac video talking about a Miata. But the driving enjoyment, I can go all through the rev range, just banging through gears. This is a manual car if you didn't know. I just like doing that. That's what I enjoy. That is what gets me going when I'm driving all of my cars. The Miata does a great job of that. This does an okay job of that. The gearing is kind of tall in here, but I can at least tap into the power. I can go to red line a couple times without gel speeds, but the CT5 V Blackwing is just a lot of power. And I've been there before. I don't want to do that again. So that's why. After I sold my ZL1, I was looking at going back to a SS. So just because I like being in that power range, well, for these types of cars, I like being in that power range. 300 to 400 is enough for me. Well, 500 at this point, but I don't need no more than that. That's just overkill for the application where I'm using this as my daily driver. I'm only getting 15 miles a gallon, which is terrible. The highway is great. It's getting like 27, but 15 miles a gallon ain't fun. And guess what the CT5 V Blackwing would get? I'm going to guesstimate like 11, because that's about what I got with my ZL1. And the drive, to put this many miles on these cars, 12,000 miles a year, that's a lot of money in gas for just going from point A to B. Had I gone used, I could have gotten the CT5 V Blackwing comfortably. There were a couple in the $70,000, $80,000 range, but I want my cars new at this point. Well, I'll consider used, but I prefer new cars at this point in my life. And I'll still have the speed thing, like just too much horsepower not to be able to tap into. So that's the main reasons why I didn't get the CT5 V Blackwing. And I do love the sound of it. Sounds crazy. I'm going to bring one to the channel to do a review on one of these days. I have done one in the past, but I'm trying to get a manual. So if you're in this Michigan area and want to let me drive your CT5 V Blackwing, holler at me. Or Cadillac if you're watching. I need that. Let me get that. So if you skip to this part of the video, shame on you. But the real reason is because I want my two cars, my Miata and this, and just too much power. I believe you can't have too much power. That just ain't me. That's just not who I am at this point in my life. I've been there, had Hellcats, GC350, SS1 Elite ZL1. If you've been with the channel, you know what I've had. And then I get cars with a bunch of power as well. It's fun for a couple seconds, and then it's not as fun all the time. Unless you live at the track, in which I will take my cars to the track. And even on the track with the CT5 V Blackwing, it's not going to be as nimble as this. So I put my ZL1 on the track. I need big tracks like Nürburgrings and just, what is the big track? I don't know. All the tracks around me that I go to, they're too small, too technical for a car with as much power as a ZL1 and CT5 V Blackwing. So there you have it. That's why I got the CT4 V Blackwing. No regrets. That's what I'm rolling with. And I got my Miata. So that's all I needed. So give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos on this car, my Miata, and any other cars that I do get to review. A bunch of cars coming down the pipeline. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will catch you in the next video. Drive safe. Peace out.